Rather lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is your Mikel Arteta press conference reaction. He's been doing a couple of rounds with the media, especially in terms of team news and the confidence levels of the team. And he says right now we need to bounce back. We don't have any fresh injuries apart from the long-term ones. That is Emil Smith-Rowe, Mohamed Elneny, and Gabriel. It's just the rest of the squad is fine and it should be okay to take us through the next game. So hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast as well. The conversations do continue when it comes to our squad. Should we drop Gabriel Martinelli and Benjamin White for the next game? If you agree with me, let me know in the comment box below. But the big news is that Mikel Arteta, in his press conference, he actually doesn't talk about anything regarding Thomas Partey's injury. That is absolutely positive. It means throughout the week, Thomas Partey has been doing very well, training with the team, and he's not expected to be out for this game. Maybe if we have a late twist, maybe if you have a late fitness twist, but for now, Thomas Partey should be available for Brentford. Hit the like button. Let's get this video to 300 likes. Now, first and foremost, Mikel was asked about the team news, the general shape of the squad, how everyone is feeling, and he said the ones that are long term, maybe Emil Smith-Rowe, Reece Nelson, and Gabriel Jesus, they are closer and they have started to do some activities and have been have been outside. And it says, but they are not yet ready to be considered for this clash. And it says on the speculation around Emil Smith-Rowe being ready for Brentford, he said he won't be available this weekend. So I think that's a positive. We don't have any new injury concerns when it comes to the squad. Gabriel Jesus, since the World Cup, Emil Smith-Rowe since the beginning of the season, and Reece Nelson since I think the World Cup as well. So the rest of the team is absolutely fine, and all those players are actually doing some activities. Emil Smith-Rowe is expected to be back at least next week. Gabriel Jesus not next week, but he's doing some activities, and of course, Reece Nelson has been in training the whole of this week, so that is quite positive. Mikel giving us an update on Gabriel Jesus, and he says Gabi is doing really well. He's already been outside a little bit, but it is still very early stages. He keeps on pushing everybody every single day, but we need to respect some timelines and processes. He is actually doing very well. Now, like I reported yesterday, he's back at the London colony training with Arsenal. He's doing some few light, I think, exercises, maybe running around for a couple of seconds, a couple of minutes, but he's not yet gone back to running and all this kind of sprinting and doing all that kind of hard work. He's not yet there, but he will be back. So in terms of the return date for Gabriel Jesus, Mikel Arteta says it is still too far for us to do that. You have to see how he reacts now, and you start to put some load on the knee and get some movement and some actions that are controlled as the ones he's been doing, and where he's comfortable as well to go to the next stage. So we cannot put a return date for Gabriel Jesus right now. It is still too early for us to say he's gonna be coming back on this date. But Mikel says it is positive. It is actually very soon. Now, Mikel Arteta on an update on William Saliba's talks on William Saliba and Saka's contract talks, and if they will take care of themselves. Mikel says they will do in the same way we did with Gabriel Martinelli or Gabi. We will deal with the rest. Things need some time sometimes, but we are delighted with the good news of Gabriel. Obviously, of course, if you didn't get to know the latest about Gabriel Martinelli's contract, he did sign the deal until 2027. Arsenal do have an option to extend with an extra year, so until 2028, right? So that is Mikel Arteta. Now he says these deals will take time. There's the Saka and Saliba, and I think there is a lot of friction going on between Saliba and Saka's representatives and Arsenal. They want more money. They want huge amounts of money. And Arsenal is a little bit on the fence. They're saying we don't have to give you all that money. We don't have to give you these huge amounts of money. We can easily go to the market and replace Saliba with a 25 or 30 million pound player who will be earning 50 to 70 million pounds, sorry, not million, but, £1,000 a week. And then with Saka, I think that's where the big question is. I think he's been a pillar stone, a huge pillar for Arsenal and the rebuild process. So they can't easily shrug him off. They need him. He's the face of the rebuild. That's where things actually become difficult. But Mikel says everything will be done and sorted out very, very well. On losing 2 games and whether that is going to be used as a reboot, Mikel says absolutely it is not about a comfort zone. But in football, you're going to lose games. You're going to lose football matches. The match we lost at City was very, very different to the one we lost against Everton. Losing brings a lot of opportunities to look at other things and the reaction of the team. The reaction of the team has been superb this week, and tomorrow we are going to put in a great performance in front of our crowd to try and win the game. Okay, that's Mikel Arteta there on losing 2 games in a row. He says we want to reboot, we want to come back, and he says the 2 games that we lost are very different. And I agree. I agree with him there. I think against City, biggest game of the season. Biggest game of the season. Against Everton, new manager bounce. Okay. I think with Brentford, we are playing a team whose manager, we know how Thomas Frank loves to play. We know how Thomas Frank sets up. We know each and every pillar about Brentford. And that's why I think this could be an easier game than people think. Now, I'm going to be doing a series of how we can beat Brentford. I'm going to be releasing that video on the 90 More podcast. Make sure you watch that. I'll be releasing that video on how to beat Brentford on Saturday. Okay, but Mikel says this game should be a reboot. We need to focus, and we have been really, really in high spirits during the week. Now, on Mikel Arteta, on why Arteta did not celebrate Manchester City goal against Arsenal when he was there. Mikel says just for respect because of the feeling I had for the club, and if I had scored as a player, I would have done something very, very similar. So I think Mikel loves Arsenal more than he loves Everton, and that is totally my opinion. It's no one's opinion. It's my opinion. I think he loves Arsenal more than he loves Everton. I've seen him, you look at the enthusiasm, you look at the passion, you look at the energy he puts into this team. And how grateful and how happy he is now that the team is actually doing very, very well. He's so lucky that he's the guy to spearhead Arsenal into our first serious title charge in a decade or so, but then also to be the first guy to take Arsenal to the levels it deserves to be on. Champions League material in terms of players, Champions League hopes. I think we are already in the Champions League. Look. United, Newcastle, City, even if we finish below those, we still get the way for Champions League. We still go. I don't think we'll finish below Tottenham. I don't think we'll finish below Newcastle. So he's the first manager to take us back to the UEFA Champions League. I had not thought about that. He's the first manager ever since Arsene Wenger put us out of that competition himself. So, look, great manager we have in there. He says he didn't celebrate because he respects Arsenal very much. And on his view on the allegations against Manchester City, he says, I'm not going to make any comment on that. I'm really, really sorry. Personally, I don't have enough information to make a comment about the allegations as well. So both of us have no comment there. On if there is a worry, the medals he won there would be devalued. Mikel Arteta, he says, I can't respond to that because I would be responding to part of the previous question. I don't want to do that. On Arteta, on if he saw anything untoward going on during his time with Manchester City, and he says no, he didn't see anything. All right. So on the challenge, Brentford will pose to Arsenal. Mikel says many different ones. the ones they put in every week to every single opponent, the level or where they are sitting in the table doesn't matter. They are extremely efficient at what they do with a very, very clear plan of playing and generating advantages, overloads, and sequences of play. It says they want to do that they want to do and that will be the game tomorrow, and we will need to be at our best in every single phase because they can create issues from anywhere on the field. Now, look, I think if you're going to play, if you're looking for the clear representation of the Premier League and how hard it is, this is the game. Brentford is the team. They are the new Burnley. They are the new Wolverhampton Wanderers. They are the new Everton. They're the new Newcastle because Newcastle have gone up a level now. So they're the new Newcastle. They're that team that is so hard to beat. They're that team that plays so well. They're that team that beats you convincingly. They're that team that takes points off you and you go, they deserved to win. They don't play a low block. They don't play conservative football. But when they play, you know they are playing really good football. So Thomas Frank is another test as a manager. So Mikel says right now they're going to pose a lot of different difficulties for us on the pitch. And if Manchester City game will have an impact on his team selection against Brentford, he says no, our only focus tomorrow is Brentford. The preparation has been on that. Let's go into tomorrow's game with the right mindset because we're going to need to be really, really good to beat them. Actually, it will have an impact. I'm looking at the fan base already, and we are in absolute shivers. Okay, so it will have an impact. I think Brentford as a team are quite very, very nice, but Arsenal will be thinking Brentford is an easy game. Manchester City is the harder one. So can we ease ourselves through Brentford and probably go and beat Manchester City? Because those 6 points mean Arsenal got 8 points clear on top of the table with a game in hand. A game that will be playing against Sean Dyche, revenge, right? On the 1st of March. So for me, the most important games for Arsenal in February are Manchester City at home and Brentford at home. The rest of the games are winnable. The rest of fixtures, you can go dominate the games and pick up 3 points. All right. Mikel, on the reaction of the players after losing against Everton, it says really positive. We sat together, discussed the game and what happened, that the opponent played their part, and you have to congratulate Everton for what they did on the day. It's true that there were things we didn't do like in other games, and that's the reason you lose football matches. There is always an opportunity to bounce back, show the character that we have and how much we want to and how much we want what we are fighting for. I think Everton were brilliant. I don't know what people think. What cheated? We should have gotten a penalty. I don't think. I think Everton were absolutely brilliant. And not brilliant at doing or playing the low block, but brilliant at making it hard for Arsenal. I mean, if you're playing a team that is better than you, miles better than you, you've got to respect them. And you've got to be better than them. You work harder than them. You do everything efficiently more than them. Arsenal gave away so many sloppy passes. Everton were not like that. Their passing accuracy was absolutely late. They created very good chances. They put one in the back of the net. They defended very well. They defended together. They were hunting in parks. So for me, credit to Everton, but it's time for us to bounce back. Okay, Mikel also on what it's like being involved in his first title race as a young manager. He says, as a young manager, a lot of energy. I am an energy giver, and I don't like energy suckers. I just like to give it. I like people who give energy in many different ways. That can be through body language, tone of voice, looking for solutions, and not excuses. I bring energy and a lot of energy to the team. Yeah, I mean, and recently he's been criticized for the energy he's bringing on the touchline, but I don't think that's a problem. We've seen so many managers shouting, jumping, climbing on touch lines. And no one really ever talks about them. So I don't have a problem with Mikel Arteta and his energy. But having a young manager means you have a younger brain that has a lot of ideas, okay? And that could be a problem at times because he's young, he wants to try this and that. But again, that could be an advantage that he thinks quickly outside the box. I really, really like the way he handled the Manchester United game, especially taking off Ben White at halftime. That was brilliant. That was very, very brilliant. So we do have a very good manager on our side. On Martin Odegaard's piece, challenging anyone who has a meeting with Arteta not to believe everything he says. He says it's great that the players believe in what we tell them and that we convince them of the best way to play and win football matches. In the end, it's completely up to them because they have the more difficult job to make that actually happen. I think Odegaard, I've watched his interview with the Football Tribune. Brilliant interview, and I think he's the right captain. Now I realize he's the right captain. We went with the right option. On Gabriel's form, he says not only his performances, but the way he is evolving, I think is really, really getting better in every phase of play and everything we demand him to do. His leadership skills, his importance to the team, his mentality as well, I think he's come a long way since he joined the club. I think Gabriel Magalhaes has actually come a long way too. Look, from that kind of guy that no one wanted to associate with, from that kind of guy that could lose his head at any point in time, from that kind of guy that could, cause a penalty at any point in time, to the guy who's very calm, he's a leader now. I think, does it come from playing with a teenager? Okay, not a teenager, but from a younger, playing with a younger player in William Saliba? Does he go, I am the mature guy here, and I need to be exemplary? If it's that, then it has actually, worked out very, very well for Gabriel Magalhaes. Very, very well. On Florian Balogun's being the top scorer in the French Ligue 1, he says, I'm so happy with him. He's a boy that has really, really clear idea of what he wants to do with his career. He's really ambitious, really committed, and really, really brave. We discussed a lot before he made that move, whether it is the right place to go and other choices he had. He was convinced. I'm really happy for him because he deserves what he's getting at the moment. On Arsenal needing to capitalize on any potential Manchester City slip-ups, he says we have enough to look after our own garden. That's what we do. Look after our own garden. Yeah, but then I think as we look after our own garden, you've got to look at Manchester City's garden. If they have any slip-ups, right? Like when you have a chance to play earlier than them, win that game. If you have a chance to play later after they've played, no matter the result, win that game. It's as simple as that. On Arsenal needing to capitalize, we've talked about that. On whether he's surprised by Balogun's form, he says, I am very, very pleased. And when you look at the numbers and what he's doing, it's just incredible. It's just very, very rare to see that. But he's got something very, very special going on within him as a player. On whether the players will take their eye off the ball this weekend, Mikel says no, because for us it's impossible to think about City when we have Brentford first. For us, the only possibility is to look at Brentford. Absolutely, that's quite very, very positive. And lastly, on what he wanted from Balogun's loan in France, he said he had some scars from that period at Middlesbrough. There were some moments where he suffered, moments where he played, and when he didn't. Moments when he played in what he believes is the most is not his best position. He threw all the excuses out and got on to the next experience. And that's what he has actually done. Top scorer in the French Ligue 1, Florian Balogun has actually done a very, very great job. And I hope to see what's going to happen when he comes back. Do we sell him? Do we integrate him in the squad? I want to see what's going to happen because you have Edin Ketia there. Then you have Florian Balogun as well. But that's it from me and Mikel Arteta's press conference reaction. I'll see you during the preview in the evening.